Hey, what's up, everyone? It is Flipman Dan, and today on Uncommon Profit, we have Corey from Mission Side Hustle, an unbelievable furniture flipper. Corey, it's great to have you on the show, man.
Hey Dan, man, I really appreciate you having me on here. Really looking forward to talking about furniture flips and how it kind of correlates to my YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. So, just straight out the gate, how did you get started in the side hustle world, we'll call it, and flipping furniture?
Yeah, so it all kind of started when I was in the military right out of high school, and then after I got out, I started going to college and had kind of gotten accustomed to this life of working a lot. You know, when you're in the military, you don't it's not a lot of downtime. So I started going to college, and while I was going to college, I decided to get a part-time job, and even between those two things, I still didn't feel like I was utilizing my time best. So I started looking for little side hustles just in general and started doing like trades initially, and then eventually found myself to doing almost entirely furniture and then almost entirely out of estate auctions, and then just kind of rolled from there.
That's awesome, man. So, furniture is not easy to kind of lug around. Did you have a leg up because of the truck you had, or how did you enter that market?
So back then, I did have just a truck. Just it was my daily driver that I had, and at the time, I was again college student, had a roommate. So him and I kind of worked in tandem. So there was really no piece of furniture that was too big. Anything was an opportunity for us. Now I do most everything by myself. I've just figured out a bit better way to deal with things. But yeah, man, the truck is invaluable.
I can imagine. So, moving furniture by yourself at this point, how the hell do you do that?
uh, willpower. No, you got to have a lot of the right tools. I've used my favorite tools just like a hand dolly, just like a regular hand truck. But I've come across a couple that are convertible. So some of them will like lay down flat, and you can kind of like raise it up, so you can use it as like a flatbed dolly almost. So I have a couple convertible ones now, but really it's just about being able to angle it properly into your truck and use the tools you have to do it by yourself, and also knowing your limits, not getting too crazy and buying something that's absolutely just impossible to move solo. But I can do quite a bit on my own.
Well, props to you, man. What have you learned over the years as far as what to buy? I mean, furniture is kind of a big niche. What are you looking for?
So I've gone through different phases when I furniture flip. Back like I mentioned when I was started this and was going to college, I really just got my feet wet by buying whatever was really cheap. I didn't have a lot of money to spend on inventory or to risk at the time, so I would find myself buying typically the biggest and cheapest items, and that could be like large entertainment centers that maybe were outdated or armoires, things like that. And those are the items that I kind of got started with just because you could get them for, I'm talking like $5, $10, at an auction. Now I've kind of I'm a bit more targeted what I go for. I do look for items that are pretty much, if I can find it as a brand name, that's like a big thing for me, is finding something that's like a designer brand or an actual reputable brand from a store that you would buy out of normally. And then things that are generally in good condition. I'm not somebody who, and this is nothing wrong with this, but a lot of people like to buy furniture, refurbish it, completely tear it down, fix it back up, and that's just not my skill set. Props to the people that do it. It's just not what I'm good at. So I try to find things that are in pretty much good condition as is. Maybe they require a little bit of cleaning, but stuff typically that you can find as a good brand name that's in good condition.
Wow. So I know on my end, I can take some time to, either repaint something or, sand it down or stain it or something like that. So, but it does add to a time commitment of time before you're going to actually make profit on that item. So it is a good strategy to just go after something that you can quickly flip. So what is the deal with these estate auctions? I mean, how do you get involved in them?
Yeah, I mean I think that's the biggest question I get for a lot of people, because everyone flips stuff in different ways. Some people will go to Ross or Goodwill or whatever, and some people go to garage sales. And I've done all of them as well. But once I got my first auction, once I started going to my first auction when I lived in Orlando, I thought like, wow, this is way better just from an efficiency standpoint. So the first thing I would recommend to people, there's different ways you can do them. You can simply Google search just like estate auction near me, not to be confused with an estate sale. But the auctions are, there's no reserve often on the items, so you can get things for very low prices if the bid will go that low. But you can find them also through a website called auctionzip.com. And that's where I kind of, when I'm looking broadly for auction houses in various areas, you can put in your zip code, see what's nearby, and you can find them kind of a bit more easily that way.
Wow, awesome. So is it the estate sales, do they work in tandem with the estate auctions? Because I know a lot of the estate sales, they're going to have this excess
Mhm.
product to deal with. Is that what the second part of that process is?
So I'm not in the industry fully as a professional. I'm just the flipper. But what I've kind of gathered, and I think how it sort of works often, is there's different ways they can do it. Of course, what you'll typically find in a estate sale is somebody who's coming in and selling someone's estate on their behalf, maybe as a service, or maybe it's just someone conducting their own sale. And what you'll typically find in an estate sale is people that are trying to command a price that's more closer to retail or what you would expect on a normal like used market. And what that means is you really can't get as many good deals that way. So with the estate auctions, it's a little bit different. It's usually a service that will come in and they will sell people's items as wholesale. And of course, those items might sell for cheaper, but from a consumer's point of view, if you're having your stuff sold that quickly, that's what you're ultimately paying for, is that convenience. So they'll come in, they'll collect everything on your behalf, bring it to their warehouse, and then they'll auction things off to the highest bidder at that point. So those are the big differences between like an estate sale and an estate auction.
Great. So I've been to these estate sales, and man, they are kind of a ripoff, I got to say, after
Yeah.
going to garage sales and just getting stuff for free. I mean, it's hard to pay those prices. So I
Mhm.
don't even really waste my time at them unless it's like the final day, the last few minutes of the sale or something like that. I'll go and look for some sort of deal. But I've never actually been to an auction, so
Mhm.
that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking into. Thanks for the shout out for the
Yeah, man.
website.
For sure. Yeah, you got to check it out. It's a game changer, especially if like this is something that you do often. I know you probably have a lot of people listen to your podcast that are also flippers, and I think it's a huge opportunity for people to get some really great inventory, and also like everybody. The reason I love estate auctions too is like there's no sense of a winner and loser. You know what I mean? Like the people that are consigning the items, their items are getting sold just like they need them to, which is fast. The auction house is getting a commission, and then us, the buyer, either you're going to flip them and make a profit, or you're going to buy them for yourself and get a great deal. So there's really everybody wins at the auction, and it's what I enjoy most about it is that everyone's getting a piece of the pie.
That's great, man. So you've really built a following on YouTube. Can you talk a little bit about that journey
Mhm.
and how that began and how that's going currently?
Yeah, so I've gotten a lot of attention for the furniture flipping, and it is part of what I do. Of course, it's not the only thing that I do or intend on doing with the YouTube channel. But basically, the premise of my YouTube channel is I started with $500 and I'm working my way up to $1 million goal. Um, and it's not like I'm living in a cardboard box with $500. It's normal life. You have a house, you have a cell phone, but that's pretty much it. And you take $500, and I bought a scooter, and we started delivering food on Uber Eats with that scooter to build up enough money to buy. At that time, it was like we bought a Ford Ranger that was really rusty, just not good shape, but it ran, right. So we bought it for $1,200, and then continued to do little like side jobs to make enough money to start flipping at the auctions, because I knew this is where I wanted to end up at this stage of the channel. So now we've got enough money that we've upgraded our truck. We have a Tundra, older Tundra, and we're still doing the flips, and we're going to be getting into some other things. But yeah, I think people really gravitate to the furniture flipping because I think there's a lot of things that are very popular and have been popular for a long time, like drop shipping or Amazon, like FBA and different things like that. And I think it can be a little overwhelming for people to try and set something up that maybe seems foreign to them. You have to do it through a computer, different things like that. The furniture flipping, this stuff is very tangible. You can see it, you can go there and touch it yourself, kind of get an idea as to if it's a good item or not. And I think it's something that was overlooked, and a lot of people are really starting to kind of get into it now.
It's true, man. The barrier to entry is very low. And, you could just get out there and find a good deal or just look in your living room and, start there. So these have been some incredible times for me as well, just learning along the way as to what to buy and what not to buy. Have you made any mistakes in the past that you were like, wow, I really learned from that?
Oh yeah. I mean, you got to take it in stride though. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of comments that say things like, "Hey, I have $100. I can't afford to lose anything." And I tell them like, "Hey, chances are you probably are going to lose at some point, but the good news is you probably won't lose a lot. There's not a lot of downside, in my opinion, if you're not, if you're being careful, if you're just kind of testing things out and not going too hard right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, you're going to buy stuff, and I've never lost a huge sum of money. I've lost a little. I've bought stuff for say like $100 and had to sell it a couple of weeks later, months later for 80. So small loss. But the biggest loss I experience is if I buy something and it doesn't sell and it's just sitting there as like dead inventory, wasting time and wasting space. So that's the worst loss you're probably going to encounter. But even still, you have to take that as a learning experience, because that's the other question I get from people. And you even asked it a little bit earlier, which is like, what do you go for? What kind of stuff do you know is going to sell or not sell? And you only learn those lessons by having some busts. You only learn those lessons by buying some bad items sometimes and realizing, hey, maybe I'm not going to do that again, or why did I thought that was going to work, but why didn't it work? So you learn your best lessons through failure often. So you have to just be prepared to kind of take those in stride when it comes.
It's true, man. I mean, the biggest investment you're making is an investment in your knowledge. And every time I've bought some bar stools or something like that that just sit in my garage, I'm like, damn it, never again. So, but is there a certain type of? I know I asked it before, but
Mhm.
what's really been working for you?
Yeah, so I will buy anything. Let me just preface by saying that I will buy anything. Stick to furniture, although I am kind of branching out and trying some other things as well. But there are some really easy factors that I consider when I'm trying to buy an item. And it doesn't need to be a couch, or it doesn't need to be a patio set, although those are some items that I typically will go for. But I care most about an item's brand. If you can kind of find out like what the manufacturer is, if it's a brand that's well known. And the reason this is important is because you can buy items cheap all the time. The hard part is selling it, and the hard part is selling it for what you want to sell it for. And when you're considering what people are willing to buy, you want to get as close as you can to what they're going to buy from a store, simply because that's who you're competing against, is like a big name store. So like I said, I try to buy things that have a brand name attached to them already. And even better, if I can find something that's like a luxury item, that's great. So I always go for a brand. And the second thing is I always go for condition. I'm not somebody, like I said, who does a lot of repairs. I like to clean items. That's not hard for me. But I don't want to do a lot of heavy repairs. So I really try to go after the brand and the condition. But as far as like specific what category of items, I live in Florida. So I think it's important for people to consider where they live. If I lived in Wyoming, I might not go for the same kinds of things I go for here in Florida. So I like to do a lot of patio sets. I like to do a lot of outdoor furniture. I like to do a lot of some stuff's universal, sofas or bedroom sets, things like that. You're going to be able to sell that anywhere, but your style has to be uh, connected to like where you're at. So like Tommy Bahama, is a brand that people really like here. If you can find it, it's kind of a bigger name luxury brand that maybe might not sell as well in Wyoming. That's more mountainous, or you get my drift here. So you want to buy things that are kind of unique and going to sell well in your area.
Right. So more bearskin rugs in Wyoming.
That's right.
No, that makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, we're in similar climates, so patio furniture definitely pays out big here, and the seasonality of items definitely plays big where I'm from. Like I've bought heaters in summer and waited to sell them in winter,
Mhm,
and just gotten exponentially more money than I would have.
for sure.
So that's something I think about as well when I'm going out there for sale. So, are you bringing out a certain? I know you said that you kind of graduated to the auctions. How
Mhm.
much money are you bringing to actually invest in inventory at that point?
So it always depends on where the channel. I say the channel because that's how we track the net worth or the cash that we have on hand. So it all depends on where the channel's at that moment. So I've gone to the auction sometimes and I've spent as little as like $100. When I went to my first auction, I'd have to go back and watch the episode, but I bought like a chair for $1. Like really really small things that I could just throw in the back of my truck and head out of there. So around $100 was my first one. I've also gone to the auction. I've spent up to upwards of $4,000 before at an auction. And it all depends on, again, the items. I don't try to buy a lot of like volume, so I wouldn't want to go there and buy just 100 different items and spend $4,000 on 100 different items. I try to buy very specific items that are going to bring me a high profit margin so that I can work. I wouldn't even say work less because that's not the point, but so I can work a bit more intentionally on selling these quality items than just trying to move a bunch of product and working really, really hard to make $20, $30 a flip. I try to focus on things that are going to make me at least $100 a flip. And sometimes those items are a bit more expensive to be had.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb to go out there and have kind of like a bottom profit number in mind
Mm-hmm.
when you're making purchases. And I'm sure like you mentioned, a big thing to consider is how much space you got. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I have my garage, you have your storage unit. There's only so much room, so you can only bring in certain things, and that makes a lot of sense. So, are you looking towards the future and seeing that you're going to continue in furniture flipping to reach that $1 million milestone? Or I saw that you mentioned recently that you're with your gray suit jacket that you're now a financial
That's
advisor.
right. It's official. It is official now. Yeah, man, we've got lots of plans, and I love furniture flipping. You know what I mean? Like, it's how I kind of got started with my first. It was for me. It was like my first kind of real business that I started after the military. Was doing it. So it's something that I think even if I had $1 million for the channel, it's something we would still go back and do. Every once in a while. It's not going to be the focal point forever, but for a lot of people that are out there and they're trying to improve their position where they're at, I really think there's no better side hustle to be done if you're working with if you're somebody who's working with like $100 extra or around say like $5,000 or $10,000. Once you have more money than that, you can get into things that are a bit higher earning, and we'll probably talk about that because you just asked like what are my plans in the future. But I think if you're someone with like $100 extra or up to like $10,000 extra, you can make such a high margin on your flips that there's definitely worth doing, and it's fun. That's the thing is like I'm not like sad when I'm out there doing my flips. Like I'm having a good time. So if I didn't enjoy it, I probably wouldn't continue doing it. But it is a lot of fun.
That's great, man. I mean, I have a blast going out there. It's like a treasure hunt. I mean,
For sure.
that's what I feel like it is. And meeting these people, they all kind of have different stories, and the items that you buy seem to have stories as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, have you learned anything that you would like to pass along to the audience as far as like tactical things that you use
Hmm.
to help you with your business? Be it organizational or time saving, any apps that you use to help you?
Sure. So this is a unique tip for me that I do here. Everyone's going to be a little bit different because if you start going to auctions, they might be ran differently. So at the auction house I typically go to, it'll be done on a Saturday. And what they'll do is you'll go to the auction on a Saturday and then you can come pick up like on Monday or Tuesday. So that gives you Saturday evening of you go to the auction and you have no item pickup. Sunday is a free day, you have no item pickup, and then Monday you go pick up your items. So a big tip for me, I try to work fast. I don't like to hold items. That's why if I have something that's not selling, I'll just keep dropping the price until it's gone because if I'm not going to make a lot of money on it where I thought I was going to, I just want to get space and move on. So a big tip for me for people is that if you go to auctions, if you don't pick up right away, you can still get pictures at the auction house. I'll still take my pictures like while I'm there and I'll post them that night. There's been many, many times where I've gone to an auction on Saturday, taken pictures, posted those pictures before I even left the auction house, and I already had a buyer lined up to sell to them on Monday. So I could just go straight from the auction house to go drop it off at their house or whatever the case is. So as far as like timing, I try to move very quickly. And if something's not posted and it's just like dead weight, it's not doing anything for you. That's like my pet peeve for me. Like I have everything moving as fast as I can. So get your pictures done fast. And then this is one thing that I started dabbling into. That's what I'll do initially. If I can pick them up and take better pictures, if it's not sold within the next couple of days, I will because I've definitely tried done like split test where I've posted items with kind of like mediocre pictures and then the same item with a much nicer setup. And I mean, it's night and day when you have a really nice setup for pictures. Like your items can sell so much faster. So that's what I would say for people is if you're just getting started, don't underrate how important those pictures are for your listing. And just make sure you get them up fast. You know, don't allow your items to sit and just kind of lie there because that's money you're leaving on the table.
Man, that's so true about the photos, man. I can't preach that enough on my YouTube videos. I always tell people to take photos of where they would potentially find the item if you can help it.
Mhm.
Like, you know, don't take a photo of a mattress in your backyard because no one's going to want it.
Yeah.
And but yeah, man, I mean, the photos is everything, and if you can have some sort of semblance of good lighting and good composition, it makes a world of difference.
Yep.
So with your YouTube channel, how have you at this point? I mean, you have tens of thousands of subscribers. How have you utilized your audience to maybe monetize that within YouTube or outside of YouTube?
So I get people to ask me things like this a lot, like, are you going to offer courses and things of that nature? And I really, for me, there's nothing wrong with courses. Like I've had friends that offer courses and things like that. Tell you the truth, I'm probably never going to monetize my audience directly. And it's not that it's right or wrong. It's just for me, the channel's journey it's trying to be as close to a documentary as possible, and I don't want to introduce any sort of monetization of my audience during that time that's being built because I don't want to cloud sort of the message behind what's being done or the purpose of it. That said, we do run ads in the channel. You know, we do Google AdSense and things like that. So it makes depending on how much the videos are being viewed, like it can make a lot of money. You know, it's a really good source of income. So to your point, I'm not going to monetize the audience exactly and offer courses or anything where people have to pay money. I like to put out this fun informational content that maybe people can utilize in their own life. Um, but I also have pretty good because the content itself is about me making money. So I'm often double dipping. You know what I mean? I'm making like a furniture flip where I'll make some money and then I make a video about making money, and that video in turn makes money. So I don't feel like I need to like do any more than that. I feel pretty happy with the amount that I'm bringing in from that stuff alone.
What about quadruple dipping? No.
Triple dip.
Well, yeah, man. I mean that's a great way to look at it as well. I know, you know, guys like Gary Vee. They always preach just to provide value, and you know, the money will come eventually. And that's noble of you, man, to focus on what you are really truly passionate about. And I could see a lot of that in myself as well. But
Mhm.
you know, I'm gonna eventually put my hand at you know, maybe offering a course or two or something like an ebook or something like that and see how
Yeah,
that
man.
goes.
There's nothing wrong with it at all. I mean, I know a lot of people that are truly good-hearted people that really want the best for their audience and they offer courses. And man, if you can take a course and summarize everything that you know, because I'm sure you're Flip Man Dan, you know some flip tips, right? So like if you can summarize it all into a little prepackaged thing, that could help a lot of people. So I have nothing against courses. It's just probably not something I'm going to do on the channel. But yeah, man, they help a lot of people, I think.
Great. Do you have any tips as far as creating videos consistently for YouTubers out there? I know it's something I struggle
Mhm.
with, and I'm a video producer, so you know.
Yeah. Oh man, they're hard. You know, I guess the only thing for me that's helpful is I'm not like in a lot of ways a super artistic person. So like I don't play an instrument. I can't draw or paint. I can barely write English. You know what I mean? So like I'm not an artistic person, but something about making videos for me is a lot of fun. It's really for me it's a really a big joy to kind of create this story and craft this narrative of how these things are coming to be and what's occurring. So that has to be the first thing is that if you're a YouTuber and you're watching this, like make sure you're doing something that is really important to you. So, or that you really enjoy. Cause if you're trying to like make content about things that maybe you're just kind of meh about, maybe you're not really excited about, it's going to be really hard to like make those videos. And even still, I have my days or have my weeks where I have to skip a video because I just couldn't get it done. You know, I don't know what everyone's situation is, but like I have 3 kids. I just had my third kid like a week ago. So
Congratulations, by the
yeah,
way.
thank you. Thank you. So it's hard to fit it all, you know what I mean? But I think just carving out that time and being really committed and dedicated to it, um, is going to take you really far if you're trying to make videos.
How has being a family man and that whole time commitment worked with your flipping endeavors?
Yeah, I have to be very intentional with the time that I'm giving to it. So back in my heyday, when I was in Orlando, just going to college, I'd go sell something at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean? If someone sends me a text message or a Facebook message or whatever it was, I'd stop what I'm doing and go do that deal right now. Being a family man, I have to be very careful with my time. And I have to make sure that my family does come first, of course. So anytime I have a sale, I'm very methodical about setting up the time, the day, how we're going to get it done, things like that. And maybe that's actually been for the better from a business point of view, is really setting these clear guidelines for customers. And I know we're dealing with just people, you know, I'm not like a business like rooms to go or anything, but I think setting up really clear expectations for people as far as like, hey, when am I going to be there? What do I expect from you guys as far as you being there? It's actually made my business much smoother. You know, being able to communicate these things to a customer like right off the bat has been very helpful compared to like what it was in the past.
That's great, man. I mean, being thoughtful about that. I mean, I'm at the point where I kind of need to start doing that as well because I will go and leave a family dinner.
Yeah, it's hard not to. You know, what I mean, like when you know you're about to go make a big profit, it's hard not to cut loose and go do that.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel you.
Learning to say no. Yeah,
Mhm.
I hear that, man. And turning towards the apps that you use, which apps are you currently focusing on, or
Mhm.
is there multiple that you're currently using to sell your product?
So I know there's so many that work well for people. And when I always say this, or whenever I say how I do things, it's never from a place of saying like my way is the right way or the only way. It's just the way that I do it. And I have my reasons. So we talked about me being a family man. I only sell on Facebook Marketplace. I don't post anywhere else. And it's not because nowhere else works or because I wouldn't get sales in other places. It's just I can only manage so much in my life. I have the YouTube channel, like I have my full time business that I do day to day. I've got my family in general, the furniture flips, all this stuff it's a lot of time. So when it comes to selling, I really only want to have everything listed in one place so that I only have to make an ad in one location. I only have to respond to messages or inquiries from like one platform itself rather than checking multiple platforms every day to see, oh, did a message come in or anything like that. So for me, I only do Facebook Marketplace just from a place of efficiency. But if I were someone that's going hard on reselling, then yeah, man, there's so many apps out there. I mean, we all know like the big ones, which is what I would use: Facebook, Craigslist, eBay, OfferUp, or Let Go. I think they merged. So like, you know, these are the big ones that I would dabble in. But for me personally, I just stick to Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, that's true. I find myself strictly focusing on OfferUp and
Mm,
just hammering down on that. But there are times where if an item is worth it, I will cross post it to Facebook Marketplace and hopefully make a sale there.
mm,
Um, and that there's certain things about OfferUp that you need to take into consideration, or these other apps, where something like eBay or Facebook Marketplace has a huge audience globally and nationally, certainly, where OfferUp, I benefit from the fact that I am in a metropolitan area. So it might not, I've been in areas where I visited my parents in the suburbs of Long Island and tried
mm.
to sell stuff on OfferUp. And it's like, where's the audience? There's like no one responding to anything,
Yeah.
and like not many people are using it. So I think that's something that people should take into consideration as well.
That's a great point. I never mentioned that. I'm like in the Tampa Bay area, so I
Mhm.
have you know, big cities near me: Clearwater, Tampa, St. Petersburg. So yeah, I think if you're in a rural place, utilizing something like eBay, and that's where your strategy has to change, right? Like I'm able to do furniture because I have good odds of selling things locally because there's so many people here. I can't ship a couch really, you know. So if I were in a rural area, maybe I wouldn't do the furniture flipping. Maybe I would do more targeted items that are more easily shipped, and that would change my strategy.
It's true, man. So thanks for coming on, man. I mean, turning towards the future. You got that $1 million mark. What are you looking forward to in 21 and years to come?
Yeah, man. So at heart, I'm an entrepreneur, you know, and I think that's anyone who's a flipper is has that spark as well, you know. So for me, we went from the scooter to Uber Eats to the furniture flips, which we're going to continue doing that, I'm in the process right now of forming my first like business for the channel, which is going to be junk hauling and item removal or item moving. And then we'll keep going with the flips, but we're going to start flipping big things like houses. So it's going to be a little while, but we'll keep the flips up, whether it be furniture, whether it be houses, cars, like nothing's off the table, man. We're going to do it all. But in particular, we're definitely looking for real estate, stocks, and business creation is how we're going to get there.
Man, keep the entrepreneur spirit burning bright, man. That's awesome. And I feel the same way. I'm just trying to graduate. We're on the stepping ladder of flipping, and what can we flip to next? Who knows?
That's
But
right, man. You got to keep going, keep growing.
that's awesome, man. So, any final thoughts, brother?
Hey, man. I just really appreciate having me on. I hope your audience is getting something out of this. Hopefully, it's getting the wheels turned in somebody's head. But honestly, if you we're on the same journey. If you or anybody wants to reach out to me, check out my channel. It's Mission Side Hustle on YouTube, Instagram, same handle, Mission Side Hustle. Shoot me a DM. I'd be happy to talk to people. Sometimes, let me just preface, it takes me a couple weeks sometimes to respond, just based on what's going on in my life. But I will get back to you guys. So anyone, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks so much, Corey. We'll see you
Thanks,
soon, man.
man.